He's hitting 528, 19 of 36. 528, guys. That's pretty damn good. 8 runs, 11 RBIs. His OPS is 1.519. Guys, that's video game numbers, okay? Of those 19 hits, he's got 9 singles, 7 doubles, 1 triple, and 2 homers, okay? Also, he's on an 11-game hitting streak. He's gone 21 for 44 with a 488 average, 12 extra base hits, 13 RBIs, and a 532 on base percentage. Guys, this guy is really good at baseball, okay? Now, before we talk about the Cubs, I want to talk about one guy who's not in the NL Central, okay? Let's talk about, and I think it's important to talk about him because he was the American League Player of the Week. Again, this is a guy who at the beginning of the year, his first 36 games, Ramon Laureano hit .216, which is absolutely embarrassing. Just really 3 homers, 12 RBIs, and 3 stolen bases. But his last 65 games? What's gone on? You know it. Razor Ramon has shown up, guys. His last 65 games, Laureano's been a completely different player. He's hit 100 points better. He's hit 3. This is, again, twice as many games almost. He's went from 216 to 316. He's got 17 home runs, 41 RBIs, and 9 stolen bases. Folks, that's good baseball, okay? During the week, he hit .542, 13 of 24, with 10 runs, 6 doubles, 2 homers, and the A's went 4-2, okay? Razor Ramon is on track right now. In July, he's hit .455 with a 1,000 slug, okay? 6 homers and 12 RBIs. Let's just give it up, okay, for the Razor Ramon. Yeah, okay. So, we got our players of the week. Let's get back into it. Let's talk Cubs because I got some free agents I want you guys to hear about as well. Of course, Cubs are my team, so I could do a whole episode on the Cubs. Honestly, I could. Right now, the thing about the Cubs, they're an even team, right? Batting wise, they're 12th in the majors with 255 average. They're 13th in runs with 502. Their ERA is 9th with a 406, and their WHIP is 12th with 131. They've got a really good core, guys, but they're not sitting on their thumbs. They are going to go out and spend. They want players at this trade deadline. They've let it be known. We'll talk about that in a minute. But let's talk about this core, okay? Javi Baez, 291, 24 homers, 67 RBIs. Versatile as can be, can play all over the infield. Chris Bryant, 296, 20 homers, 47 RBIs, and 76 runs. Again, third base, outfield, first base. Rizzo, 293, 20 homers, 68 RBIs. Here's one for you. Jason Hayward. How about Jason Hayward? This is the guy the Cubs paid for, okay? 274, 15 homers, 43 RBIs, and 45 runs. He's got 5 stolen bases. He could play right or center. He's versatile. He's a team leader. It's looking good right now for Jason Hayward. How about Kyle Schwarber? Kyle Schwarber is hitting 230. He's hitting 230 against lefties. He's hitting 230 against righties. The difference is he's got 17 homers against right-handed pitching. He's only got 3 against lefties. Okay? That's not good. That doesn't cut the mustard So there's a hole there, right? Contreras is hitting 286, 19 homers. He's on the injured list. They've already proactively gone out and got a defensive first catcher and Martin Maldonado. This is a balanced team, folks, okay? So let's talk about this real quick because I got a lot I want to talk about in a short period of time. The Cubs need a left-handed bat, okay? Like I said, Schwarber is not good against left-handed pitching. Everybody's been real quick to talk about the Cubs being linked to D. Gordon, which I think is a valid link. I think they really want him. But the one I'm interested in is Nick Castellanos. Folks, Nick Castellanos allows the Cubs to be so much more flexible. They've been linked with this guy, and it would be a huge step in the right direction to get this guy. I say that he hits 377 versus left-handed pitching. 377. Tell me that doesn't match up well with Kyle Schwarber. It's a perfect fit. In 2017, which is probably the last time the Tigers were relevant, he hit 26 homers and had 101 RBIs while hitting 272. Guys, that's impact. That's impact. And I'm guessing you could probably get him relatively cheaply. Okay? I'm guessing he'll probably take maybe a 10 to 15 prospect in the Cubs organization. It won't be a huge guy, maybe two. So why not go out and get Nick Castellanos and let him platoon with Schwarber? It only makes them more versatile, which is what they're trying to do. Lou, that's a good point. They can't play defense. Yeah, you're right. But you know what? I mean, again, I think that's why you have the defensive replacement with Albert Almora. It makes sense, right? It makes perfect sense. You go in there for 6 innings, let those guys clobber the ball. And then in the 6th inning, you take Hayward, you move to the left or right, depending on who's playing, and you put Almora in center, and boom, there you go, right? Okay? That's my point. That's exactly my point. So, yeah, they both stink on defense. No denying that. Absolutely. How about this Robo Garcia, guys? Did you see his homer last night? He had a 454-foot bomb into McCovey Cove. Guys, this is a nobody. He really is overachieving, and in all honesty, providing a little bit of insurance should the Cubs not be able to get a second baseman. And let me sidebar this. What's this say about Ian Happ if they're going out and looking at D. Gordon and they're going out and looking at some of these other second basemen? What's this say about Ian Happ that Robo Garcia came up in front of him? It's not good for him, right? I mean, that's how I view it anyway. So we'll see what happens there. So let's talk about the Cubs pitching, because I think this is probably where they could use the most help. Okay, and I'm not talking about the bullpen or the starting staff. I think Darvish has been really impressive the last 3 starts. His numbers stink, but he's started to turn it on. Lester has been solid. He doesn't do well in the middle of the summer, but he's there in the fall when you need him. Hamels, 2.98 ERA, guys. 6-3 with a 2.98 ERA. Cole Hamels, it really is impressive to see what this guy has done. And I love seeing him and Darvish together. I think that it really speaks to their camaraderie, which is admirable. So, and then lastly, Jose Quintana, 4.42. He's 8-7. Nothing great, but you know what? Here's what it comes down to. You look at that rotation. What do you see? I see 3 lefties. I see 3 lefties, and 3 lefties who know how to grind. They're not overpowering. They know how to pitch. That makes them really tough. Okay, guys. Unless someone's on at 8, I'm going to go over a few minutes because I want to talk about some free agents. I got some guys I think y'all are like, so stay tuned, okay? Now, I think the rotation's fine. I think if you want to bring in an insurance piece, they still do have Tyler Chatwood. They have Alizé, who can come in and be a long relief guy. I think they're good there. But I'm going to make this argument. Just today, it broke that Brandon Morrow is out until August. He had a setback with his injury while facing live pitching in the Arizona Fall League. So, whereas I was expecting to see Morrow in a couple weeks, it's now going to be more like a month to a month and a half. Right? Yes, extra innings. You're absolutely right, Royals. You're absolutely right. Who doesn't love extra innings? So, I did this whole spiel, right? Kimbrel in the ninth. Hey, you're going to build this backwards. Kimbrel in the ninth. Morrow in the eighth. Next. Edwards in the seventh. Well, that ain't looking too good. And then you got my... Back to it, okay?
I got a lot of problems with you people. Now, you're going to hear about it.
Pedro Strop is awful. He's terrible. They got to get rid of him. He can't pitch for them in leverage situations. So that tells me, if I'm the Cubs, I'm asking the Rangers, who I already got a good rapport with, what's going on with Jose Leclerc? Would Jose Leclerc look real damn good in the eighth, handing it over to Kimbrel? What do you think, Royals? What do you think, Lou? I bet you could get him relatively cheaply. So, I talked about a whole list of guys who I'm thinking, the Cubs have been linked to. The Cubs have, there's been discussions about. I've thrown in a couple hypotheses, if you will. Leclerc being one of them. So let's talk about him. Realistic, not realistic. Real quickly. D. Gordon. D. Gordon, I saw he's on the 10-day DL now. Got hit in the back last night. It's nothing major. He's not having the greatest of years, but Seattle looks like a real toxic situation. You're looking at a guy at his peak, 64 stolen bases, 60 stolen bases, 58 stolen bases. Pretty darn good, right? But he's only got 16 this year. He's only hit 270, whereas he's hitting 333 and 308 this past. I wonder if D. Gordon is either mentally checked out, which is fixable, or not 100%, which isn't. So I'd love to see that speed at the top of that lineup if I'm a Cubs fan. Especially because if you look at the stolen base leaders for the Cubs, it's abysmal. It is not good, okay? Javier Baez and Jason Hayward lead the club with 5 stolen bases. I only got 5 sound effects, so I'll have to make my own one on that one. They could certainly use the speed. I certainly think that it's an option. I don't think they go both Castellanos and Gordon, but they could, theoretically, because I really do think you could get Castellanos for a nickel. I think it's you put someone, halfway decent in front of Detroit, and they're going to take him for him. Because not a whole lot of people, nobody's knocking down the door for Nick Castellanos, okay? But they should be. They should be. A career 275 hitter, averaging 20 homers a year throughout the course of his career. I mean, I think that is the most likely get for the Cubs personally. So we'll see what happens there, okay? Some other guys that have been discussed. Jarrett Dyson. Again, he's a fallback plan if they don't get the guys I mentioned earlier. He's 34, so it's a little different situation, but he is a pretty decent defender. His arm isn't the strongest, but he is capable of playing center in Wrigley, which isn't the most cavernous ballpark. He most likely would be replaced defensively, like I said, would be for Castellanos, were they to acquire him. I think that's an option. I think it's probably a cheaper option than Gordon. We'll see what happens. it'd be interesting to see Dyson and Castellanos in the same